Yeah? Well, hey. Tell me what's on your mind.
How is it you come to worship God more so than atheists?
My folks... You might say they're not your typical Aethasians. Sure, they cling to the light more than the darkness. But the war, it touched my family. And it changed them. Killed some. Not that I remember firsthand. The others toughened, turned survivors. That much I saw with my own eyes, even years later.
Are there others like you? Other Contis out there?
Of course, though we're few and spread out. Most don't keep to temples. Soul shepherding requires travel. My aunt's the one who taught me about the cycle of life and death, how everything happens in stages. Whether forwards or backwards, from seed to rot to rebirth again, it's all just states of existence and balance. See? That's how I first learned about the slice of gone within Aethys.
Slice of gone. She grinds big, confident, happy.
After that, I read all the doctrines of gone. Anything and everything I could get my hands on.
Such as?
The 12 books of Nearwith.
Oh,
plus the epistles
course.
from the minor prophets. A lot of them aren't a part of today's canonization, but that doesn't mean they're wrong.
She crosses her arms over her chest, expression pinched.
It's tradition for the youngest born to take up the priesthood of Aethys. Well, I did it in my own way. No need to fiddle-foot around. I'm
How
listening.
you feeling?
They're there in my head when I sleep. And sometimes I can taste them on the back of my tongue like a smear of grit. My folks... You might say they're not your typical Aethasians, but the others toughened, doesn't it though? Whether forwards or backwards, that's how. After that, I read all. No need to. You need me, I'll be.
He sums up the same thing. I like it that they sped up as well. That's nice. That's cool. It always felt like you had to keep going back in and keep going back in, but it does feel like you answer the same thing. That's cool. I like that. Finesse.
We're full up, I'm afraid. If you're looking for lodging, you'll have to hope there's room at the tavern.
Family Scribe offers you a pleasant smile, but seems preoccupied by other matters. You write runes?
We do indeed. Forgive me if I mistook you for a tenant. Our quarters set aside upstairs. Passers-by with a bit of extra coin will find a welcome cot and a meal. This is a temporary measure, of course.
Clears her throat and glances away. Why rent rooms at all? Much less for short-term stays.
It's not my place to share the dealings of the Valera family, but this is all rather public.
He frowns and glances around the house self-consciously.
Suffice it to say that a family in want of coin might find alternate means of securing their finances. In the case of this estate, that means renting the occasional room. No shame in making a practical sacrifice. But I've said enough. Speak with Atello if you have business with the Valera household.
He beckons you on in an anxious, urgent manner. Who's in charge here? I think he just said that.
You'll find Atello Valera upstairs in his study.
How's business?
Well, as they say, business can always be better, yes? I'm sure I needn't bore you with the details.
He bites her lower lip and diverts her gaze.
You're looking prettier than when you left or so.
Merla, cut it out.
And just take it right off your hand. I do. Put in there, eh? Alright.
Taught Laro a lesson, I did.
Am I supposed to play nanny?
Laro, a
I
lesson.
listen to you, Martino. Enough. We have a guest.
Ah, a new face in the Valera halls.
Atello Valero's face is lined and wary, and his coat is tidily buttoned, his posture faultless. I'm pretty sure I caught a member of your family dueling with the Bartettos. He nods.
You will forgive me if I'm distracted. Trouble and scandal plague my household. You kept Laro and Orso from the beyond. We could use such a mediator.
Ooh, so he doesn't want to fight, it seems.
Martino has need of muscle and brains outside of the Valera house. I will entertain your curiosity.
What does your family do for the Valerian Trading Company?
Valera ships escort goods and merchants from island to island across Deadfire. The Principe dogs show us their stern whenever they spot Valera colors on the horizon.
Leave it to a swabby from the Republics to think a pirate showing them their rear be a compliment.
Orlin chuckles at his own joke. You're having some kind of trouble with the family next door?
The Bardato Bank shuts us out of investments and stifles our finances. This is the richest prospect on Eora, but we cannot grow our family business.
Can't make coin at the expense of others? Now that's a crying shame.
Eyes narrowed, the priestess crosses her arms over her chest.
If you know a better way of squeezing profit out of these islands, I'm open to hearing it. Ezal is a rich thug, and someday she will get what's coming to her.
Talk to you about Bardatos.
If we must. What is it?
I think your family should consider a truce.
Shoddery. Our disagreements are beyond the point of shaking hands. This is not your feud. If anything, I question her interest.
You're a businessman. You should know if my investment was false.
You have little to gain by peace between our families, but you speak as if you might. You want to help? Convince Ezali to negotiate. She ignores my invitations. Until then, leave me be.
Turns away from you, intent on focusing anywhere else.
If you are not here to help, there is little left to say. And I must entertain them? Go on.
Bring to the Valerian household.
Is drama an acceptable answer?
Okay.
I make sure the wine cellar is stocked, and that sons and daughters alike know how to carry a blade. A new face stepping in the... Speaking of trouble, better to let things run their course in the future. Hunting Principe dogs is our business. With all these problems with the Bardatos, now is not the time for competition from the Brass Citadel. It would be better if they took their business elsewhere.
Talent isn't looking. Martino draws his thumb across his field.
You could always start shooting the shit out of one another and leave good Deadfire folk be. Just a suggestion.
Talk to these sailors for you.
Perfito. I am sure the words of the Great Watcher will save the day. Make sure those royal bastards understand the Queen's birth is Valera territory.
Is it? Is it though? I think it is.
Ahoy there. Any news worth telling?
The Principe won't be bullying you anymore.
Best news I've heard since I arrived on this rock.
Lowers his hands. They shake like they don't know where to go next. Then go back up to his beard, this time less frenzied.
What of Captain Redora?
Shows the end of his mustache taut.
Has she sobered up yet? Or do we need to shake her by her ankles?
And she was robbed. Don't hold it against her.
Robbed? Abidon's fist.
As he passes you and swallows.
Someone's feeling bold to prey on a captain in Queen's birth. Matters being what they are, Redora's commission is yours, if you can afford it.
Moves down his mustache and dislodges a small puff of sawdust. Well, what is it?
That'll be the Iron Thunderer. A cannon well deserved of her name.
Beams of pride.
Maybe she doesn't stand up to Rawatai standards, but she's got heart. For 1,000 pyres, she'll crack a hull, scour a sail, or splinter a deck like an imp with something to
This
prove.
is my reward for helping you.
1,000 is plenty less than I offered the seasoned captain. My hands are tied. Well, I'm here if you ever change your mind. Oh,
Thunder, can I see it here?
I got it.
Defiance Bay, am I right?
The size of Ono Anuma smiles and claps you on the shoulder hard. Who are you again?
I was but a face in the crowd, but I remember the one who walked out of Hadron House alive.
Claps you on the shoulder again, harder, and this time you recognize inebriation behind his enthusiasm. Hardred House.
He's had more than a few. Perhaps we should go before this ends in rambling professions of love.
He leans close to you, speaking low.
We haven't imbibed anything we can't regurgitate later.
Taylor shakes his gut at Elf and laughs.
Also something I'd like to avoid.
Yes, yes.
So, what brings you here, friend?
What you doing?
Captain gave us extra coin to occupy ourselves while we're on leave. We've been draining Valian wine cellars and trying to remember the words of Rauatai anthems. Loudly, as often as not.
He turns to his compatriots with unrestricted glee. Martino Valera wants you out of Queensberry.
Valera, one of the stuck-up pirate hunters. We move for no one, friend.
Anything I say or do to convince you to leave?
We'll leave when we're good and ready. Valera should get used to waiting.
If you just beat it for a few hours, then we both win.
No. Tell the Valeras they can lick my boots.
Time to stamp out a sea rat.
Sea rat.
Yep, sailor motions to companions to rally around him. Wait, that's sorry. You there? I'm blinded, so you didn't make any shots.
Me too.
You miss every single shot every single time.
No good.
That always hits though, which I find hilarious.
Glory be to God!
Yeah, it's a lot harder than I remember.
Sure.
I no longer hear the perverted anthems of Rauatai echoing across Queen's Birth.
The Royal Deadfire Company, sailors are gone.
A shame that sailors cannot stop themselves from throwing the first punch. Stick with me and you'll be on the winning side when the dust settles.
Fighting only strengthens the Royal Deadfire Company.
Merla, you and my father are too alike. Go on. I'm still waiting on word for the next job. You have a few days to decide where your loyalties lie.
So this is even
Adu,
thingy as well.
what brings you to the whole of the...
Mulberry fields. Don't think a day went by I didn't have a skinned knee or a bleeding elbow.
Oh, we did that sometimes. Only my brother usually had a hand in the bleeding.
He older or younger than you? Either way, I bet he's just as strapping.
Older. Was older. Then Raid Sarah's invaded.
Oh, I didn't... I mean, of course, that's... God, but I'm so sorry.
Sorry. To deal with these people, so this is Luca and somebody else.
still going on, is it? When arrogant louds decide that enough is enough. Has been raving ever since they moved in next door. Imagine them as neighbors.
Valerian clicks, whispers at the ear of a friend, who closes her eyes and nods in a sagely manner.
It's a point of pride, I suppose, having the bigger house in the district.
Taking a moment ponders this to herself, glancing out the office window and tapping her chin.
Pride! I wouldn't count on either of them having much of that in stock.
He flinches as he notices you, but recovers quickly, putting you on a winning smile.
Something we can help you with, sir?
Couldn't help but overhear. What was that you were talking about?
Have you been walking through Queen's Birth with your eyes closed? Or have you simply failed to notice the trouble between the Bardato and Valera families?
I witnessed a confrontation between Oslo and Lara.
You did? Oh, stop it! No, don't stop there. Tell us more. We've been cooped up in this office all day, and the only intrigue to be had is what precious little goes by our windows.
They laid in close, hanging on every word. They wanted a duel to the death, but I convinced them to fight until first blood.
First blood, you say? I myself once cut a man across the face for making statements on my honor.
Stands tall with pride.
Ah, but isn't that noble of you? Come then, we can't let the good word simply wither on the vine.
He beckons her partner on with a shooing gesture. Oh, we got toilet again. Yep. Yeah. I remember that. Does that mean like I come here at night time then? So, you know, borrow stuff. You know? Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Maybe I can. Here it'll probably be like that. The click buzzies himself up. Buzzies. The click buzzies himself about the room, favouring you with a brief glance. He rubs under his eyes and exhales through his nose.
If you're here on company business, then I will fit you into my schedule.
He gestures for you to go on. Examine the clerk. Luca's shirt is spotted with a number of faded purple stains that you recognise as droplets of wine. Someone has tried unsuccessfully to wash them out. Noting your interest, Luca tugs at his jacket closed.
The service at the tavern are clumsy. Most clumsy.
He clears his throat and fans at his neck. What's this place?
Stumbling from the street, I see.
Luca sneers and surveys you with a patronising look.
This is the heart of the Valiant Trading Company. You would know that if you had a reason to be here. From her office, Governor Alvari carries out the will of the Songretta Mea Compresa. We clerks are the fingers of their long reach.
He clutches his hand over his heart and bows sharply. I spoke with Tawenu outside. You have a claim on his tribe's land?
Ac, a lawful claim, I might add. No matter what the native says to the contrary. He showed up with a forged contract, as if I wouldn't know the difference between our paperwork and theirs.
He gestures dismissively out the door.
Tawenu is lucky I only seized the forgery. The Galad is too good for his kind.
There must be some agreeable way to sort out Tamu's problems.
Your villager friend would do well not to stand between the company and our prize.
Oh.
The company is allowed to solve problems as we see fit. And right now, Tawenu is a problem. Besides, lying is second nature to the Ranga heir and his ignorant cliente.
Talking about Duet Homeland. This is right.
This is the homeland they signed away for money, Ak. I can almost guarantee the company will put it to more dignified use.
Negotiating like this, and you'll drive the Huna into the arms of the Royal Deadfire Company.
This is... Ak, true enough. But breaking a contract for diplomacy's sake is simply not done.
Yeah, the company loses nothing by letting go of an island they never had.
I would be remiss to uphold one contract to the detriment of our operation. Go on then. Some of us have more important duties.
Lovely. Right, seems I can go upstairs. We'll go upstairs. And then we'll talk to Tawenu. Call it there. Out the way up there. A lot of people there.
Just a moment.
The Dobra woman at the desk does not yet look up. She taps at her chin with the quill in her hand, a look of furious concentration on her face. After a few moments, she scrawls something down the ledger in front of her.
There we are. So, did Alvari send you? I'm putting together the numbers. She will have to be patient.
He glances up at you, distracted, then looks up again, blinking owlishly.
Well, you're no clerk. Sientere, Watcher. I was preoccupied. Do not take it personally. They put me in this side office for a reason. Olesca Sarasso, advisor. And you are the Watcher that frightened the harbor master.
I didn't mean it.
Did you get turned around? I can't imagine what you'd want from me.
Sarasso leans sideways to look past you at the door leading into the hallway. How fares the company?
I will not lie. Our fortunes dwindle. I must ask the director for some clarity on these figures. I cannot imagine why they are so low. What can I do for you today,
Who's in
Watcher?
charge, yeah?
I only handle the numbers, sir. If you are looking for work, you should speak with Governor Alvari. Her office is downstairs, towards the back.
With that, Sarasso nods politely and turns back to her work. Hey.
Ado, Watcher. Governor Clario had many kind things to say about you. I have you here in the ledger. A net profit. What can I do for you today, Watcher?
What do you do here, boy? She's an accountant.
Put plainly, I am an advisor to the director. I keep the books in order and offer advice on the operations of the fleet. Profits, losses, all here.
Rather than pointing at the ledger, she raises a hand and taps the side of her head.
I have a better head for numbers than for small talk, I'm afraid. It isn't personal.
Don't worry. Same for me.
It is nice to be asked, I suppose. I hardly ever get anyone in here unless they need help with their sums.
I don't see why. You probably have the most important job here.
That is true, but hardly anyone says so.
Sarah smiles, an earnest, amused smile that brightens her eyes and puts colour in her cheeks.
I have been lucky to reach this position. I enjoy the work, and it is clear that I am needed. Being useful. It is a good feeling.
Can I ask you some questions?
I can spare a few moments.
Can you tell me about the families?
Ah, them. Gods, they've been at each other's throats from the start. And ask if anyone cares one speck why it started. We should have left these feuds back in the Republics. The Bardatos are some of our most valued investors. The Valera family makes its business in pirate hunting, and they have an open contract to keep the waters around Neketaka clear. But they spend more time plotting against one another.
Yeah.
A waste.
Could you tell me a little about the Rayleigh Company?
Well, it is funded and so controlled by the Songretta Mea Compresa. I can tell you that much. A council of 11 investors. Dukes, nobles, not all from the Republic's mind, but all very important people.
Who runs the company?
While the Songretta is away, Cantaniro is the company's highest authority on the island, but he mainly concerns himself with diplomatic affairs. For the usual business, You want the director.
It was nice to know you, lady. She was rather pleasant. Right, well, I don't think I'll be able to speak to the director. Don't think so, anyway. So we'll speak to Tawenu. Oh, it appears to have been quickly jammed under this bench as it's slightly crumpled. It's covered in what seems to be several failed attempts at a numerous first, including a few ill-advised rounds for helm and sword.
Eccoci. You have business here?
I'm just here, come from Port Mage. Governor Clario suggested I might find work here.
You are in luck. The governor is between meetings. Go on in.
Will do.
Kill that first, thank you. Standing next to her desk and lost in thought, Governor Alvaro looks up at you as you approach. Her expression of intent focus thaws instantly, and she greets you with a strange, startlingly sunny smile.
An interesting surprise. The Watcher of Cadnoa, no? I am told that is your ship in the harbor. Be cozy, I mean nothing by it. All newcomers are of great interest here. I am Lueva Alvari, Governor in Residence of the Valiant Trading Company here in Nekataka.
This is a wee bit
What
Jamaican
brings you
there.
to my door?
I've come, blah, 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 you may have work for me.
Generous of him. I am a little surprised he gave you up, to be honest. His operations on Port Mage must be going more smoothly than reported. How much do you know about the luminous Adra trade?
I know your office is looking for it. What's your interest in Adra?
It sells for its weight in gold. Our investors have charged us with claiming every vein we can reach.
Vari punctures her blunt statement with a smile.
Every viable deposit is of interest to us. Cartographers, surveyors, at any moment we have a dozen expeditions underway. Some weeks ago, we received word of a large quantity of luminous Adra on a distant island. Pukukahara. It is not charted on any of our maps. However, Pukukahara is said to neighbor the island of Tikawara, and we've already made contact with the natives there. We dispatched an expedition to Tikawara with instructions to locate the Adra site and determine its value. Our people have neither returned nor sent any word on their progress.
She spreads her hands in a gesture of helplessness.
We are too long delayed, and someone must finish the job. A watcher can determine if there is essence in the Adra, if it is worth the trouble and investment to remove it. Information for which we are willing to pay. Ideally, but if the worst has come to pass, I would like you to complete the investigation of the Adra deposit. Anything that may assist the company.
What do you know about Pukakamara?
Not much, unfortunately. A few superstitions among the locals, but they're unusually tight-lipped about the subject.
Well, if I'm to sail there, I'll need supplies, eh? Wink, wink.
Yes, I take your meaning. Here, a taste of what's to come. This will be of some use to you, I think. It entitles you to act as a commissioned agent of the Valiant Trading Company. Present it and you will be recognized as such.
Nice.
Until then, I believe we're finished. Return here once you have word of our agents and our prize. Oh, and take care upon the open sea.
Open sea.
There are greater hazards in these waters than a few pirates.
Hey, Coxie.
Huh? Akira, you return. What say, friend? A strange smell follows you, I say. I hope you're not unwell.
Luca, listen to reason. The dupe will keep their island.
Akira, I cannot believe. A light after our long sorrow.
He smiles broaden, and Tawenu slaps your shoulder with encouragement.
My village is modest, but I came prepared. I set aside a few gems for trading. They are yours by right.
No charge, no charge. Alright. Thank you, I'll set whatever payment you have to offer.
You are a friend of the Dwape. We do not forget.
Miles rolling his shoulders with the ease of one who stands suddenly taller.
Come closer, Watcher. We should speak. And here I thought Tawenu would hold vigil on the company's stoop until the last shard of Outtro was dredged up from the ruins of his village. Sometimes it pays to be wrong.
Ah, so she did so. Oh, so did I do that out of order then? Maybe I did that out of order. Okay then. I just did it to pass. Why not just step up and help?
Plenty of folk disagreed with you, it seems. I wonder, what makes you so different?
Because I'm amazing.
The Valian Trading Company is so fixated on incremental profits that by the time they make any real headway, Rawatai will own every island in all but name.
Shakes her head and sighs.
And the Hawana are so gullible that their loyalties will be spread across 500,000 contracts, and nothing but black powder will remind them who truly owns Deadfire. Stop by the Royal Deadfire District sometime. Rawatai needs men and women of action to represent our interests, and I can see a promising career for someone like you.